Hello everyone, and thank you for waiting for the video. Today, we will talk about some changes that I have made, and then we will discuss the Paragon board. But first, the Rathma's Vigor got buffed. Now it works after being healthy for 12 seconds instead of 15 seconds. I was kinda hoping for 10 seconds or 8 seconds, but let's not get greedy here. It is already a huge buff for my build. In theory, I was only able to trigger Rathma's Vigor 4 times a minute, but now I can trigger Rathma's Vigor 5 times a minute. Next, I have changed my aspect on the helm. I could not get any benefits from dropping blood orbs at the moment, so I gave up on that aspect and added the aspect that gives 0.5% increased armor for 4 seconds, stacking up to 50%, which gives me more survivability and easier for me to keep up my fortify. I have changed my aspect on my one-handed weapon as 23% increased damage while I have a barrier active. I put sacrifice bonus aspect on my necklace and corpse tendrils aspect on my focus. However, considering how important overpower damage is for my build, and since the corpse tendrils aspect works for overpower damage, I might use a two-handed weapon with the corpse tendrils aspect in the future and give up on my barrier aspect from one-handed weapon. I am currently removing all my attack speed affixes, and let me explain why. Yes, it does increase the attack speed for Blood Mist. However, Blood Mist has a fixed number of attacks. For example, let's say it attacks 10 times within 3 seconds. If you increase your attack speed by 100%, the Blood Mist attacks 10 times within 1.5 seconds and does nothing for the remaining 1.5 seconds. So although you are attacking faster, the overall damage doesn't change. I have tested it out and apparently it only attacks 13 times. And there is nothing that I can change that number. So since the attack speed doesn't really increase my total damage, I have decided to focus on different options. I still need to change a lot of things in my build as overpower damage is additive, not multiplication, which is quite frustrating because you cannot increase your overpower damage with vulnerability, for example. The critical strike damage is also not applicable to your overpower damage, and it will only increase your tiny blood mist damage. Therefore, I have to start removing all my vulnerable damage and critical damage affixes and focus more on willpower, overpower, maximum health, cooltime reduction, and fortify. Next, some changes to my skill tree. I have removed 2 points from my Blood Mist and added them to standalone. And this is to increase my survivability at the higher level nightmare dungeons. Also, since I don't need attack speed anymore, I have removed all my points from Inspiring Leader and added them to Reaper's Pursuit, which gives me more movement speed by 15%. Next, the Paragonboard. Keep in mind that this is not the final version yet. I don't see any legendary nodes that are useful except Saints of Death. With at least 2 corpses nearby, you gain a 15% damage reduction, and most of the time you get plenty of corpses, and therefore it gives you more survivability. Unfortunately, the bloodbath note does not apply to Rathma's Vigor. They do not consider Rathma's Vigor as a guaranteed overpower attack. I have tested it out and it does not increase my Blood Mist overpower damage. So, I'm currently using 5 boards in total. The basic board, Bloodbath, Flesh Eater, Scent of Death, and Bone Graft. Now, the glyphs. The most important glyphs for this build will be Dominate, which gives increased overpower damage. The next one is Control, as it gives more damage to crowd-controlled targets, but I have not tested out if it is applicable to overpower damage yet. The next one is Essence, as it gives 22% increased damage to enemies that are not healthy. Again, I have not tested it yet and it may not work on overpower damage. The next one is Undaunted, as it gives more damage reduction and increased damage while fortified. I just need to figure out a better way to fortify. The last one is Sacrificial, which gives you 10% increased damage while you have no active minions. Again, I should test it out more to see if it is applicable for overpower damage, but I have not reached level 15 on these glyphs yet. I could also use Amplify, as it gives me 10% increased damage to all enemies affected by curse skills. Scourge for 10% increased damage to enemies affected by shadow damage over time effects. And Territorial for 10% damage reduction against close enemies. Here is a little clip of me at level 98 playing on tier 62 Nightmare Dungeon. As you can see, I get a pretty good uptime for my Blood Mist and it's very consistent. You have to use it wisely though. If you wait too long to cast Blood Mist, you could die instantly like this. At a 1v1 fight, you might have to move around and wait for your Rathma cooltime to deal actual damages. Considering that most of my glyphs are not even at level 15, it was a pretty smooth run for the tier 62 dungeon. Alright, this concludes my video about the Paragon board. Now I have to reach level 100 and I should min-max my build to see how far I can go with Nightmare Dungeon. After that, I might create some Thorn build just for fun. So, if you like this video, please subscribe and click like on this video. Thank you so much everyone and see you next time. Bye bye.
잘 가라.